Do you ever feel like there's someone else inside of you and it's not a sexual situation?
I was going to say, because I don't go there. But
I don't know what you do on your free time.
There are some times when I get a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, I act and do certain things that is, something that I really wouldn't do on a normal. And it could just be just saying something, or, I don't think I react physically, but I'll say a few things that is not common of me. So yeah. So I'm known to be the happy person, mm-hmm. and not really raise their voice or anything like that. But sometimes, this stuff kind of comes
mm-hmm.
out. So.
Well, I'm not the happy person, and I will ride that bus until it crashes. I don't give a shit. But I don't think I'm crazy necessarily, except there are moments where I'm like, oh my God, I have to walk away right now because I'm about to yell at this person for no reason. Because they're just pushing my buttons. I remember my mom said something once when my sister was like a toddler. She was like making this noise. And she kept I don't know, she was hitting a bucket or something, or a pot and pan. She was just playing. And my mom was like looking at her. And she's like, I had to leave the room because I was about to just knock my 2-year-old across the room. But it was just she kept making this noise and it was so annoying. I think we all have those moments.
Yes.
But that's not exactly what I'm talking about. And even to say the beast within, that's part of it. But also I think the beast from without, the non-obvious monster.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about today, people.
Yeah.
So, welcome back. It's Bitch I Ain't Scared. I'm Nate the Fool. And we're coming to you sort of live from Hollywood.
We are in Hollywood.
Hollywood and Western.
Yeah.
Come find us. Don't come find us because that's scary.
Yeah, that's a little creepy. But this topic is interesting. I kind of did a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. I may be on the other spectrum a little bit. So I want to gauge more from you because this is an interesting topic, and also to kind of give an example of this beast or this non-obvious villain is The Shape of Water.
Yes.
So
and that's probably the freshest one in everyone's mind right now.
I did not mention this last week, but that is also up for nominations. Woo-hoo! And it is currently in the horror genre, even though it comes off a little bit more on the fantasy side, but at the same time, it's a monster movie.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of horror elements going on.
Yeah, so. and they hopefully will give one of the golden statues
mm-hmm.
to a monster, and I love it. But the obvious villain, you would say, quote unquote, would be the Gill man
mm-hmm.
that's in the movie. But, the real monsters are, the racist pieces of shit
mm-hmm.
that dated back in the day. What era was that? I can't remember.
It was the 1940s, I
40s
think.
maybe, yeah.
30s? It was the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, when the perfect person was all American white. They had the right car, the right family, 2.5 kids, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And, you let that stuff coincide in that head, and you go with that belief, that ego trips in, and that, ego and that, that power struggle, just all of that. And it turns out, this monster movie where the monster was not necessarily the protagonist, but just one of the sweetest things in the movie,
mm-hmm.
whereas a human being turned out to be the most villainous.
Yes.
And this guy obviously had no reason to believe that he was evil. He was just being him.
He was being righteous.
Righteous.
And that's what a lot of people get wrapped up in all of these experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But before we dive in too deep,
yes.
Is there anything that you wanted to share?
There is something. I picked this up last week. This story was posted on Bloody Disgusting on the 20th. And our girl Lindsay Lohan's coming back to horror.
Is she?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
And she's doing favorite genre. She's going to be in a werewolf movie.
Is she?
Yes. So here we go.
Okay.
A private investigator must unravel the murder of her uncle while keeping the secret that she is a descendant from a line of werewolves. So I think probably some hunters went after her uncle. She needs to investigate it. But while trying to solve his crime, I'm assuming that it's going to unleash a lot of family secrets. Let me see if I got any kind of like... So here's the poster, which I think is artistically done very well. And I'll post this online for YouTube.
Okay, well, best of luck.
Yeah. But it's got Charlotte Beckett, Gianni Cabaldi, and Dominique Mandini.
I mean, is this coming out in Italy?
Well, it says so.
I just don't.
Let's see, which is for sale ongoing. And okay, so it talks about EFM in Berlin.
Okay, well, I'm not interested. But yeah, rock on. I hope it works out. You know, it's sad. I really do love werewolves, especially like speaking of the beast within. I love them, but people just manage to always fuck up these stories and bore me. Or if werewolves are featured, it's like in a secondary manner. So
I'll be curious to the tone. That's what I want to wait for. I want to wait for the pacing and see exactly how. I mean, it seems that she's the lead. I mean, the synopsis kind of talks about her, so I'll see what they do with that.
Big ass head in the middle of the poster. She better be. Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about her last night at work.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that movie. Ooh, what was it called? It was like an ensemble cast where it was about the assassination of Bobby Kennedy.
Oh, she was in that.
She was in that.
Okay.
She married, I think, Elijah Wood because he was trying to avoid the draft for Vietnam.
It's Bobby, I think, is what you were thinking.
It's probably called Bobby.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember I was thinking about her because of Jackie, and yeah, it's weird that you're mentioning this story now. So.
Well, no, I saved it for today.
No, but I'm saying it's funny that I thought of it yesterday and you're bringing it up because I was like, I was thinking about her. So I hope it works out for her. She's had a rough ride. Mean Girls was probably like her last hurrah. I can't think of anything else. So.
Well, past that, I don't know, but I adore Freaky Friday a lot.
But that was before.
But afterwards, I don't think there
after
was
Mean
really
Girls
anything. Yeah. Well, speaking of Bobby and Jackie, you know who starred in
and speaking of like monsters that you wouldn't think of a monster, yes, little Saffron Burrows. So she's, to me, in the movie, she's one of the non-obvious monsters, and even though we have the sharks swimming around eating everyone in Deep Blue Sea, it's her fault.
Yeah, she was Frankenstein.
She was Frankenstein, and she valued her research over everyone and everything, over her own life.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of monsters that are the worst monsters because they will get you fucked up.
It was so cool. When I saw her name on the poster, and I just Saffron Burrows. Oh, I was just so happy, and it was a joy to see her. Yeah, it really was.
It was cool.
Yeah. The only other thing that I have is I gotta tell you the story that happened over the weekend. So Rigo and I go to that film thing I told you about downtown, but we decide to take the train, and he parks his car at LACC. And I'm like, are you sure you want to just leave your car in this neighborhood? He goes, no, I've done it all the time, yada yada. So I'm like, okay, you done it, it's your car, we'll do it.
It's my neighborhood. What's wrong with LACC, Rob?
I'm just saying.
Shit. You used to go there.
So we get there, we park, he's putting money in the meter. I am just getting out of the car, and the door is still open, and I'm looking at my phone. Yeah, your eyes, I know your eyes are like, what? So there's this guy that kind of is walking. He looks like he's on his phone, but his look either comes off either homeless or drunk. One of the two's happening, right? Again, my door's still open. My back is kind of turned to him, but I can't see Rigo from my preferable. I'm looking at this dude. The dude takes a shift towards the car, but he does nothing. He says nothing. He's got sunglasses on too.
At night?
No. This was like maybe 4 or 5 in the afternoon. There's still a little light out.
Okay.
So he takes one little shift. My initial thought is he's going to ask for change. Whatever. Then my second initial thought, which was in the same maybe millisecond, was he's going to try and jump in this car. I don't know why. I don't know what he can accomplish by doing that, but those are just one of the two things that was about to happen. All of a sudden, I hear this voice in the back of me. He's like, hey, what the hell are you doing? And I turn around. I was like, there ain't nobody behind me but Rigo. That voice came out of Rigo. I know your face is shocked right now. God, if you could see his face. I was like, what?
I'm aghast.
Thank you. I was aghast.
I think I'm using that properly. Never used it before. So I've never felt this emotion.
So he just, and then I turn around and I see his face. It's just a different person. I had never seen this man in my life. And then this dude starts yelling and screaming. He's like, this is a sidewalk and blah, blah, blah. And then Rigo gets super defensive and he grabs me and he's trying to like rush me away from him because he thinks he's going to do something. Apparently, to Rigo, he thought that he was pulling something out of his pocket.
Oh.
So he just went onto this mode of he's about to throw down. I, on the other hand, was just like, whatever. The guy just continues to yell, and he's like right here behind me, just yelling in my ear. I'm not too afraid of him, but Rigo was just so like kind of paranoid and kept trying to drag me and trying to run away from him. And it's just like, no, it's fine. Well, this is what I told him. I was like, you could have prejudged him just a little bit based on his look. For all you know, he's just walking down the sidewalk, honestly. But at the same time, your instincts kicked in, you felt something, but talk about beasts within. This fool just shared some stuff I didn't even know about him. But
so, just to backtrack and give a little context, Rigo is a scholar and a gentleman and a very soft-spoken, quiet soul.
Very soft-spoken. The voice is a little high-pitched from the octave that he just brought out that day. And he's genuinely happy, loves everything and everybody, loves nature, birds, flowers, all that good stuff. I never. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't got to worry about nobody brushing up on me.
Got some unsuspecting man with you. Okay.
But yeah, right. I thought I would bring that up. It was, hey, you never know when the shit hits the fan.
Well, I don't have to worry about your ass in the streets, Rob. That's good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't got shit for you. So.
No, it's okay. 2 other things I'm going to bring up. 2 other things. We have some birthdays coming up. And so this Sunday, Oscar Day, is Catherine O'Hara's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just
Pisces. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just to kind of point out, by the time this episode airs, between our next one, Catherine O'Hara, happy birthday. I'm gonna have to pull out some movie to watch you in. Maybe some Lemony Snicket, your little cameo, some Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, you've reminded me of my failed project to do a zodiac sign every month.
I was gonna ask, but I mean, you did the one before. Did we skip one?
I did January. I haven't done Aquarius yet.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, sorry, February was a lot, and I have no excuses. Okay. So I'll get to it. Yeah. Maybe I'll just like put together a calendar, and y'all will get it in 2019.
There you go.
Whatever.
There you go.
But yeah, happy birthday. Who else? Who else?
Well, we have another one, but I think we can save that for next week.
Oh, because it's next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
it's next
shut up, Rob.
Okay. So yeah, our topic today, Beast Within. Yeah.
Yes, I think that it's something that's kind of overlooked, but there are a lot of characters in movies that are around monsters that are, usually trying to kill you. Or like even a good example of just the unsuspecting, like last week you talked about, for Disney fans, Gaston.
Yeah.
Even though it's like we know he's the villain, but he's so handsome and he's so suave.
Well, people look up to him. They want to
dick.
idolize him, and you know they think he is the specimen for the perfect man. And yeah, I mean, everybody wants to marry him and all that. So nobody notices that he's actually a monster in disguise.
Or even a better example from Disney as well, Frozen.
Okay,
Because unless you were like really paying attention to some shit and analyzing everything, you didn't know that there was going to be a villain. Or you thought that somebody was sort of villainous, but it was actually someone else that you didn't expect.
well,
The Prince character.
yeah, Prince Han.
So I was like, oh, wow, didn't see that coming. Because it's sort of like the whole thing is like, is Elsa going to be evil?
Well, it was just sort of like, not necessarily a misunderstanding, but it's just this unfortunate event. She happened to be carrying this power that she can't control, sort of like New Mutants that will come out soon. Nobody is really a villain. They just can't help themselves.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't expect a villain and would have preferred it. But,
Well, I
we need
appreciated
somebody
the
to
twist
overcome. Yeah, the
because
twist was still good.
We don't usually get that where it's like we have the handsome, charming character who's so nice and helpful throughout the entire movie. It's like, oh, they have other motives. So we do see that a lot in horror. I mean, we already mentioned the Saffron Burrows, which people might argue against that, but her character, you know, she was the mad scientist. Who else?
There is, since you brought up Frozen, I could just while we're on here, so we don't have to go back to Disney. But like, Toy Story was a huge proprietor of this type of thing because in the second one, you've got that what's his face, Kelsey Grammer character. You tell me you've seen those. I will hurt you.
You ain't gonna do shit.
What?
I don't like Toy Story, Rob.
Oh, you don't? Why not?
I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like the first one because I was totally 2D all the way, and I was like, "What is this bullshit?" I didn't like Toy Story, and then I didn't bother with the sequel. I watched the third one because my niece was a big fan of it.
Okay, well there you go. The third one, Mr. Hug and Bear, or whatever his name was.
Oh yeah,
he was the most cuddly thing, looking all Care Bear realness.
That was.
And then what does he do? Just turn the tables on all of us. Yeah, had no clue. But yeah, just little devious stuff like that. And he was all for it. Like, he even threw his crew under the bus, like, towards the end of the movie. He was just like, I don't care about none of y'all.
That's good.
Yeah. But the same sort of format happened in part 2. He had met characters that were under the sort of Woody mythology, like character-wise. He met Jesse and then the pickaxe dude. And they were all collectibles, and he wanted to be sold. But, obviously Woody's gang was like, no, you ain't going nowhere. And he was like, if Woody doesn't stay, then we're not getting sold, and I'm not getting out of here, and yada, yada. So he was plotting. And, yeah, so it was sort of the same thing.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Another one that comes to mind is the governor from The Walking Dead.
Okay.
I mean, he's like long gone now. But when he was first introduced, he was like this nice, like suburban guy. He's like here to help. Welcome to my town. And he was fucked up. Because it's sort of like that extreme of, sure, you can come into our town, but then it's like they had some crazy ass shit going on. What was that thing where they wanted them to fight and kill each other?
Yeah. I forget. Yes, I know what you're talking about. It was that like sort of battle royale thing going on.
It's like you broke a rule, so now you gotta like fight to the death.
It's all about the entertainment. He sits on his throne. I think that was like the biggest turning point of like, this dude ain't right. Because then Lauren was just like, oh yeah, I just hit that and I totally fucked up.
Totally fucked up. And she had one fucking job, so she could have killed him in his sleep. One fucking job. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of regrets with that character and what happened to her.
Yeah, I was ready for her to be gone. Andrea, just.
But yeah, Shane's another person. We all looked up from season 1.
Oh, Shane. Yeah, Shane snapped.
We all looked. Yeah, he just snapped. But that's the thing. It was all in him the whole time.
I mean, yeah, because he was the best friend and he loved them. But yeah,
he got used to being on top, and then that throne was immediately taken away once his best friend came back into the picture.
Yeah.
And then he just lost it. And then every episode, he just went deeper and deeper. And yeah, so what do you find appealing about this type of storytelling?
Because it's a surprise.
Okay.
Especially, I mean, it's almost like, in this sense, the zombies are a distraction for the real problem, for the real terror. You know, yes, the zombies are gonna like tear you to shreds, but they're not really thinking about you. But the humans are plotting against each other. The people who are drop something, I borrow soap, shit. Yeah, they're plotting against each other. They're all trying to rule the world, what's left of it, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my mom when I was younger, and I was like, we watched something. I was like, isn't it scary? She said, no. It was a monster movie. She's like, no, monsters don't scare me. She said, people scare me. And, you know, that also might have something to do with her. She was a cop. She's retired. She just retired. So, you know, she works with a lot of kids and women and sees the things that men mostly have done to women and children. So I think that's, like, she's like, you know, like Michael Myers is usually more scary to me because that's a guy. But a monster is not really real. Like a demon's not real to her. So I thought that was interesting as a kid because I'm like, oh, the demon is scary. Look at it. It has like
horns and
it's got horns and teeth and it can fly. It can come through the wall. Mom, you don't know shit. But now I mean, I still am afraid of demons, but I see that now as an adult.
Yeah.
Like how scary it is when it's like, oh, I didn't expect you. I still don't expect you to turn against me. I thought you were the good guy, or I thought you were the noble scientist who had a cause that you believed in and you were trying to help the world. But it's like, really, you just wanted glory at this point.
Yeah.
You're just so obsessed with saving your creation. Or another example, the most recent King Kong movie, Samuel L. Jackson, he was like killing his own people. He was like, shoot my men out the sky. He's like, I am not letting this thing live. I'll kill anybody at all costs as long as I
his character was, you're talking about Kong Island, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like his character was interesting to me because he had such this masculine sort of vibe to him when it came down to men. Like he really felt threatened that something like King Kong exists in the world. And for some reason his masculinity was just stripped of him because he's not on top of the food chain anymore. And it just goes to show you how fragile it is to be a man when you let a creature take you down a peg and make you go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I found that to be interesting. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, we need somebody who doesn't like Kong and wants to go against him. But like, it takes somebody who really can't function without feeling on top. And didn't that take place in an older era as well?
Yeah, I think it was like 70s.
Okay. So I mean, it could, you know, it's a very big thing back then too.
Even to go back to the beginning of them coming to Skull Island, they're like dropping bombs and shit. That wakes up the other monsters. And come to find out, it's like, no, Kong is actually protecting the people on the island from these creatures that are sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's like another example of humans just coming through and fucking shit up, not thinking about who's there, what's there, not knowing anything, just shoot first and not care later.
Yeah. What do you think about like these monster movies that sort of want to twist it in a way by making them sort of the savior or the misunderstood? I mean, monster movies usually are meant to scare you, and now we're seeing this duality of using monsters as a metaphor for, I guess, human instincts or the beauty within or something like that. Like, I'm noticing there's been a shift. And I guess Frankenstein has been around for the longest time to kind of show that misunderstanding. You know, you're judging a book by its cover and you don't really know what's really going on, but all you see is just this odd looking thing.
Yeah. You made me think of the book Wicked.
Okay.
The book. I haven't seen the musical.
Yeah.
And Madame Morrible, I think that's her name. I don't really know what her deal is in the musical. I don't know if she's quite as villainous, but in the book, she's the headmistress of the school, but she's on some shady shit. She doesn't like talking animals with a capital A. And there's a teacher. I can't remember his name, but he's like a goat.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's really nice. He's Elphaba's favorite teacher.
I remember the goat.
And then he gets murdered and it goes unsolved. But it's like, she knows. She just knows that this woman was responsible. And so, I mean, it made me think of like sort of how people get so angry and they're like, I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. This system is rigged and they don't care about people like me with green skin. They don't care about talking goats and talking animals. They don't care about us. And I'm going to fight back. And even when she goes to confront this woman, she like gets into her house at the end. She's already fucking dead. Like she dies of old age and she's in her bed and she's like, ah. But the whole world views Elphaba as a villain. She's evil.
Yeah.
At least in this story. I mean, she's angry. You know, she was just like, I'm tired of the bullshit. I appreciate these other perspectives. They've reframed the story to show you that, yeah, maybe these characters still go to extremes. And that's why the world sees them as being evil. But there's another character who's just in the shadows pulling strings. And they're the real problem. They're the real threat. Mm-hmm. But it's like they're on the top of society, and all of these bigwigs love them and think that they're great because they're, you know, filling their pockets and shit. I think it's a useful story.
Okay.
I'm smart, Rob. You know, I be reading and shit.
No, that's good. I don't really watch too many monster movies, especially from back in the day. And I know that they do use monsters as a metaphor. I don't know if it's strictly for goodness, but I always found those stories to be interesting and what kind of message it is that they're trying to convey with that. Mm-hmm. Especially since we're so used to looking at something of an oddity and then just completely rejecting it. And now there's a story to tell behind that it's not all that what that what you see. I suggested that we try and watch, you know, Jekyll and Hyde, and I think that is I'm still gonna watch it one day, and we'll just come back and talk. I mean,
we know the story,
but I think that's a really interesting story too, just dealing with something that supposedly is in all of us. I mean, would you deny that we all don't have that type of like?
Yeah,
I shouldn't say evil, but just that dark side in us.
We all have a dark side. Yeah. It's just, and I think we all embrace it at different times to a certain level. Mm-hmm. But there are some people who can't even like fight it. Yeah. You know, like Jeffrey Dahmer, obviously, I don't know if he was able to even control that urge. Mm-hmm. I'm not making excuses for that type of person either. But it's like, it's all that there is for them. Ted Bundy. It was just, and you know, it's like you look at the extremes of how like Jeffrey Dahmer grew up. I mean, he was very rural and like a loner. And then Ted Bundy was like all American and gorgeous. And he had this great family and everyone thought he was a great guy. And he's just fucking murdering young girls all the time. Yeah. So yes, it can be in all of us. But, I think that just earlier, even starting where it's like we talk about how it's like, you know, you just feel this urge. Most of us have that ability to control ourselves, to keep ourselves level, and not just snap and pop off on someone.
Do you happen to remember sort of, I mean, the whole Jekyll Hyde thing, it was just an experiment, right? Or was he after something?
See, he was after something. I think he, you know, because he was more of like the stereotypical nerd doctor. Yeah. But I think he was in love with someone. I know in the musical, he's like in love with a prostitute. Okay. So I think it was, who was that? It was Deborah Cox and the guy from American Idol, Constantine.
What are you?
When it was here, or at the Pantages, they had a Jekyll and Hyde musical.
They did that?
Starring Constantine and Deborah Cox.
All right.
Apparently the story was like horrible and it wasn't good at all. But you know, like at the end, Deborah Cox has a really good song about a new life, and she's gonna like move away and like start over and not be a prostitute anymore. And then he comes in and Kills that ass.
I am not mad. That
Kills her
woman
right
never
away.
comes out to do anything. I saw her on accident once, and I almost fell out because it was just unexpected. But she doesn't tour or do anything. We love you.
Yeah.
I'd love to see more of her.
But anyway, so yes, he's trying to bring out different qualities in himself, like to be more charming and confident, and like the alpha male.
Okay, so see, this is what I was going
Gets
with.
fucked up.
So that's the other thing. It's like, is bad good? Like, or do we want to do? I mean, I'm sure there's obviously a middle, but it's just like, it seems that is more favorited.
But I think
over,
he gets addicted to that too, where it's like, I don't want to be myself. I'm going to let this guy take over because obviously he's more aggressive and people tend to like that. And I think I can definitely relate to that, where I am probably not super aggressive most of the time or assertive, and it's like, gosh, I wish I was. I'd be bagging hoes all the time.
Do you think that there's a middle ground? Like, can somebody be sensitive and aggressive at the same time?
In different situations, yes.
Okay.
I think you have to find that middle ground, and you have to like know your fucking audience too, like, because not everyone wants like you to be like in their face and like, you know, get the fuck over it. It's like sometimes people need you to be sensitive and to listen and to emote. be open and receptive versus being just like, and that's what we're taught as men to be, like this wall of brick, and we don't have emotion. We're always angry. We don't hug.
So then that's my another question too, is that this beast within, is it manifested through how we grow up and how society sees us and we just bottle stuff in, or is it something that's just been with us the whole time?
No, it's something that I think is I mean, and people can talk about testosterone and shit.
Yeah.
Yes, we have that. It might amp us up a little bit, but it's society. Yeah, I mean, talking about toxic masculinity and how little boys at a very early age are taught to like, don't cry and, you know, get up, dust yourself off. You're not hurt. You're fine. Knock him off, you know, or not knock him off, but like knock him off his bike, like punch him, hit him back. And then little girls are supposed to be delicate and victims all the time.
Yeah.
Come save me.
Another duality that
I'm sorry, I just laughed because I thought about Rigo saving you.
I know, right? That was so good. He felt so bad too, and he was just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I was like, nope, let it out, it's out now. I know it, can't hide it anymore. I expect that every time. And I was like, next time we go out, and because I would have told everybody by now, and I was like, they're gonna see you and be so scared to come near you, and you gonna know why. But
like, hey Rob, we just want to say hi, but we're not gonna stay.
Yeah. No, another duality I thought of is Two-Face. And his struggle to keep his, dark side intact. And then physically, his other half was let out to play. Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like I probably have only seen a very cartoonish versions of him, but it always seemed like it wasn't a problem. The more conservative half kind of just went along with everything. But was more of like a suave gentleman about it. And the other one was like, I'm batshit crazy and I don't give a fuck.
That's what's so cool about Two-Face, is because even though the beast had been released, it didn't take over. And even from the bad side, there was this sort of mutual understanding that we are half of the same person. So therefore, not one person can fully take control or make decisions. There has to be a balance. And it also talks about the fact that there is no good without evil, and vice versa. So they use that whole coin deal to let fate decide, and we're still equal. Like, one is not taking over the other, and we let chance take over. And I always found his character to be interesting, and there's a lot of variations with him, but I always liked his character because it stayed out the whole time. It was never one or the other, and it was just that split personality sharing literally the same body.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find his story pretty interesting too, and I'm waiting for a good horror movie to kind of explore that a little bit too. Not necessarily copy Two-Face, but just like it's always been like, oh, the alter ego, and then when they take over, the other half doesn't remember what's going on. They black out. It's only one at a time, and I don't like that.
Well, Split kind of did it.
Split kind of did it, yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it's like, well, and
It's
they
just
all
only-
kind of remembered each other, and they all knew each other. It's like they would have conversations with each other.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I would like to see where one's aware of the other. I mean, it just kind of gives the other like a way out of just not taking responsibility with what's going on. And I would like to see one where they're actually both aware and like there's some kind of like fight within where they have to do that. But one day. One other actually I have two, but one person I do want to bring up is Jack Torrance. Do you think he fits under this category?
I don't know who that is. Who is that? I know the name, but
That's The Shining. Jack
right.
Nicholson. So like he had his deal with alcohol
That's,
or whatever,
yeah.
but then like I guess he's always had a beast in him that only comes out with his drinking, or the house obviously gave him like
It's
cabin
funny, I mean,
fever, and he just
that's
like
sort of like a Jekyll Hyde situation. Like he's drinking something and turning into something else.
But do you think that would kind of fit under the category of someone who's just always had like a beast inside of him? Or
I think, yeah, once he became an alcoholic, that it was there. Like Jekyll and Hyde, it's like once he took that first sip, it's there. And even though, I mean, people go to AA and do the 12 steps, it's still there. And that's why they continue with their 12 steps. They always stick to that. Otherwise, they're going to relapse and, they might hurt somebody or themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. I was like, who is that? Jack Torrance.
Yeah.
Sounds like a mayor of some small town.
Somebody else that I also put in this category, I can't think of his character's name at the moment, but the real villain of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I didn't see it.
You didn't want... Okay.
I'm sorry.
This is honestly homework for you.
I'm sorry.
Really... Okay, I don't want to say it now.
Just go ahead and say it, Rob. The kids are listening.
So good. So the entire movie is based on a typical trope, just twisted. It's like Cabin in the Woods. You know what to expect when you see A, B, and C, and it turns out it has nothing to do with that. And the real evil in the world, at least in this movie, were just preppy white kids. And so one in particular who, he did the collar up, he was so Abercrombie and all this stuff, and he obviously judged a book by his cover as well as the other kids, but him predominantly is that he wanted to go out in the woods and camp out and basically just kind of toy around with this urban legend about, ancestral, hillbillies out there, cutting people up and shit. And so obviously when you see a hillbilly in a country town and blah, 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 you think they're completely evil. And that's the whole thing. You're introduced to two of the sweetest, bumbling, like, I wouldn't say dumb, but they're just naive. And they wouldn't hurt a fly. And yet every situation that they have encountering these kids make them look like the bad guy because all they see is what to expect. It's like the whole Frankenstein monster thing. And then this is a slasher film. Technically, everyone is dying one by one, but if you've got Tucker and Dale, these hillbillies who are good, how are they dying? And it's hilarious. But towards the third act, the real villain arises, and it's one of the kids who's had it inside him this whole time, and he finally just embraced his evil side, and it just kind of took over. And oh god, you gotta see this movie. It's so funny. It's so good.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's on Netflix too.
Speaking of Cabin in the Woods, that was like a double layer.
Yeah.
Because even though it's like we're introduced right away to the lab, the kids in the cabin are dealing with zombies. That's their immediate threat.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have all of these technicians orchestrating everything. So we think that's like, why are they doing this shit? They're crazy.
Yeah.
This is horrible. And then you find out they're doing it because they're these giant evil gods sleeping underneath the lab. It's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're trying to save the world, and you know,
trying to save the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you think that they were noble, doing the right thing? I mean, killing a few to save billions.
This is a really interesting theory because, I mean, it was brought up in the movie. It's like, if we have to resort to this type of world saving, then maybe the world isn't worth it. Like, we need to start over. Because this is, we're grasping at straws, and we're not even making the world better at the same time. Like, you just want to continue to live in this shitty, you know, existence. And yeah, like, as far as being noble, I mean, to preserve human life, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, oh, 5 to save billions. But then as the years keep going by, you know, that number's going to add up. Figure something out. What are we doing? You know, is this really how we're about to live? Now, them making bets off of it and all that shit and having fun, like, that shit's off the, like, that's bad. That's really bad.
Talking about redoing the kitchen and shit.
I know.
Get out of here.
Yeah, that's really bad. But another one who really didn't expect this to happen to, but the loss of a loved one can make people go crazy. I'm thinking of Willow Rosenberg, who went full-on bad witch the moment she lost the love of her life. And that right there, like, that wasn't, I mean, you wonder if it was the witchcraft that created this bad side, or was that in her the whole time? Like we said, we all have a bad side. It's like...
But it's also like the alcoholism. I mean, she had an addiction.
Yeah, she did have an addiction.
And, you know, if you think about someone who drinks and it's like they have a really bad fucking day and someone that they love is killed, you know, they're going to want to pick up the bottle.
But that show is a really good example of how many times we were given the monster of the thing, and it turns out there's some quirky difference of them just being them. We can even bring up the Murlocs and all those, you know, Morlocks, I'm sorry, from X-Men. We can bring them up because some of them just have the look of being hideous or whatever, but you know, they're probably the most innocent ones out there.
They don't even have any powers.
I know.
So sad.
It's just the work. But can I just say that, and I'm trying to think real deep right now, I don't think anyone has died worse than what Willow did to Warren by ripping his skin off because she was bored. Like, that is some heavy darkness inside someone. I mean, and for a series as a whole, I can't believe they went there.
I'm trying to think. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen anyone lose it like that. Like, that is some heavy stuff.
And I think it's like we always expect it from Spike and Angel. You know, they all have these dark pasts where they're vampires. And of course, they're killing people. They're vampires.
Yeah.
But not Sweet Willow. Yeah, probably. I don't think anybody else was worse.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it could come out from any which way. But yeah, it is something that you really can't expect. Do you happen to, like, is there an overall message to this type of storytelling? Like, what do you think people usually like to convey when they do stories like this?
Watch your back. I'm just saying, like, you never know. It's like that old thing of, like, everybody's a suspect, or you never know what to expect. And when you really never know what to expect, it really raises the bar. And especially in the horror genre, it's kind of boring when you do know that, yeah, Freddy's gonna kill us. We know. Don't go to sleep. I mean, or Jason. Yes, Jason's going to kill people in the woods while they're having sex. Of course. But, you know, even though we see the scientists doing a bunch of fuckery, like combining human and shark DNA,
yeah,
we still are like, oh, they're doing something because they're trying to do something good. They're trying to help the world, but also, I think they're just more obsessed with glamorizing themselves. And
well, it's the God complex, basically. Yeah.
And even when you don't know who is responsible for all the shenanigans. Scream, it's a simple idea of a slasher film, but you don't know who it is. And even to think that it's like, oh, it's one of the teenagers, they're kids. So they should be sort of innocent, even though they're not.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh my God, I wouldn't really think that it's Randy. He's such a sweet geek. But he was still a suspect. You know, I appreciate red herrings.
Yeah. If they're good, yes, definitely.
And it just adds another layer to the story. If there's already a monster that's oozing pus and it's going to bite your head off, that sucks. But then you have someone who's locking you into the basement so that they can get away. Fuck you, man. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And we've seen that a lot where people they'll turn it on real quick. They will show you their true colors.
Yeah.
When someone tells you who they are, believe them. That's Oprah. You have to listen to Oprah.
Yeah.
She knows. So, yeah. I'm trying to think of like a better example of that. Like somebody actually like locking people in.
Oh my God. Locking people in to like,
you know, like they're out the door first and they're like, let me lock this door and seal them in. Oh, I remember in the Alien Covenant.
Okay.
When that bitch locked old girl in the quarantine.
Yeah.
And I was like, you did not need to do that.
She was so scared. She just couldn't. Jurassic Park. That freaking banker dude. He left us. He left us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just
and what
left
happened?
Them kids.
Died anyway. Yeah. See.
Yeah.
I don't like useless death.
Yeah, fear will let the truth out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't care. They will leave your ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I
totally I don't want to be around no fucking scaredy cats that are gonna get me killed. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be scared, but don't lose your shit, especially if you're like a military person.
Did you watch Life?
No, I just haven't watched it yet.
Okay, because there was a scene in there where there was an opportunity to open a door to let somebody out, but just in fear of letting the specimen out as well. And a lot of it was drawn in by fear, but it's just like, when do you make that decision to keep that door shut or to just lock yourself behind somebody else? But yeah.
It's like I'm trying to think right now if I was in this situation. Oh man, I don't know. I mean,
well, here's the thing. Like
do I really want to watch you get eaten by a monster, Rob?
You really, I'm guessing their strategy was done from a scientific point. Like, you're trained to do certain things. It's protocol. You don't open the door ever. Mm-hmm. But then when it comes to somebody's life and you take the risk if there's an opportunity, I don't know. But, that's why I could not stand Alien Covenant, because they always took it personal. And it was like, my wife's in there, my husband's in there, and I'm like, bitches, this is why y'all ain't supposed to be I'm not even gonna get started. Because
that bitch didn't take it personal though. She just fucked her coworker over.
No, she in particular, yes, but the rest of them, they were
it's like,
just
also, this is the only medical officer that we have, and we're gonna lock her in.
That goddamn movie, I can't.
Cannot. It's okay. Jesse was naked. I'm gonna ride that all the way to heaven. Pun intended.
If you're listening, Jesse, you heard it first.
Hey, Jesse! Congratulations on all your success in your music career and your beautiful ass. Anyway, it's my beast within. Oh, another example. I mean, speaking of the Alien series, like Paul Reiser, they always had a character in those movies. Well, in the first movie, it was the android, so he was literally programmed. Yeah. But Paul Reiser.
No, I get that. They think about money. They're very greedy in what they are trying to accomplish, but they never know what to do when the shit hits the fan. Right. And they always think that they're man enough to go up there and handle some heavy shit.
He was such a pussy, though.
Yeah, and
I mean, he was a pussy.
They're the
Lots of people
the scaredest
appreciate
ones.
Pussy, so I should say he was. He was just He was useless, but he was there getting everyone killed. Mm-hmm. It's the worst kind of character, where it's like, you can't even handle yourself.
Yeah.
He got killed too. Yeah, he got killed. Yeah.
No, he was gone.
See? It's never good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Cube. That movie Cube. Oh, I'm sorry. I
No,
nerve.
no, you didn't hit her nerve. It's just, so here's the thing with that movie and like 28 Days Later, stuff like that. Like, I get the message.
Are you talking about 28 weeks later?
28, no. Well, no, days. Well, I mean, weeks could possibly fit into this, but I'm talking about days.
I mean, weeks definitely does, because he did it twice. He got everyone killed twice.
It's just, something else kind of popped in my head where it's like, yeah, here's the villain, here's why people are dying, and then it turns around and it's like some asshole.
Some asshole just.
Who's an asshole who just wants to, be evil or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, I think it was that black dude in Cube who just kept killing everybody because he was just so fucking paranoid. I was like, no, I want more body count from the Cube. Stop killing people. You're taking away all of my traps.
I mean, he was so. Oh, I thought he was like getting people caught up in traps. I don't remember.
Well, kind of. I mean, it was kind of both ways, but I think towards the last,
towards the end, he was just killing people.
Yeah, when he was just hacking folks
out.
up. But like 20 Days Later too, it's like, I promised all these men, if they stick with me, I give them women. Y'all the first ones that came up. I gotta deliver, otherwise these people are gonna betray me. Gross. And it's just like, oh my god, this movie just took.
That's a really good example.
Yeah, and it was kind of I mean, I didn't need for the human race to just buckle down and just be so Captain America with it, but at the same time, it's like, do we really have to go darker than what the fuck's going on?
Is that what's gonna happen? Because you know that there are so many people in society who are like, I really just want to do what the fuck I want, and now that 90% of the population is gone, I am going to do whatever the fuck I want.
I don't know. It was something that I really didn't need to see. Like, wow, are we still the most like disgusting things on this planet? No matter what comes out,
that's the message, Rob. Right there.
Yeah, that's probably it.
That's one of the big messages behind these stories. We are the most dangerous species on the planet.
Apparently.
Like, whales aren't plotting to kill nobody. They're just trying to get some krill and live their life. Bears are not trying to kill anybody. It's like, obviously these animals can be very dangerous. Mm-hmm. They have sharp claws, but they're not thinking about killing us. They're just living their life.
Yeah.
Even a fucking poisonous ass spider that bites you in the middle of the night while you're sleeping is not trying to kill you. They're just living their goddamn life, and I hope it's a short fucking life, you bitch. I have these 2 dots on my hand. Look at that.
Yeah, that's straight up.
And I was like, what is the bite radius on this that it has to be that big?
Start climbing walls. Go ahead, try it. See what happens.
I don't feel it. I know, if you're gonna bite me, at least be useful. Like, give me something. Give me something.
You gotta believe.
Oh, is that what Peter Parker did? He believed.
That's what he did. He believed.
When a spider bites you, believe.
He was given a very life-threatening situation, and that part of his brain kicked in, and that's when the shit activated. Okay, and then once that happens, bam, it's all you.
Okay, well, threaten me later, Rob, and we'll see what happens. Okay, well, I don't know. I feel like we've chatted at length about this.
No, this was a good topic. And again, with Shape of Water, sort of rehashing that same sort of storyline, this type of storytelling is worthy of telling because, hell, got nominated for some Oscars. So, I mean, to tell you the truth, monster movie or not, this story spoke volumes, and I'm glad that using a monster as a metaphor still didn't distract people from what was happening. And like I told you before, there are people who look at the relationship of homegirl and this Gil man and just found it utterly disgusting, where there are people who see past that and see the beauty in the fact that they were connecting on a very like spiritual level. Mm-hmm. So it's either or, and I think that Guillermo knocked it out with this one. So, again, this is good storytelling, and hopefully we'll see more like it.
I didn't even think about the aspect of the story. Obviously, I know that she is mute, but it makes me think about ableism and just how that's an extra layer of trying to just exist in the world like everyone else.
Yeah.
And find love.
Yeah.
Find someone who gets you. And she finally found someone who just understood her.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they didn't have to follow the norms of society that I personally am very privileged to be able to do. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, I still feel like I'm such an asshole because I still have not learned sign language.
I want to learn sign language so bad.
I need to buckle down and do it.
It's such a wonderful language. I want to learn it myself.
And
I've always did.
You know, it's like clearly I don't care enough about someone that I know who uses sign language. It would be very helpful if I could communicate that way.
Yeah.
So that they're not trying to like read my lips, and it's like I'm speaking slower and I'm trying to like do all of this stupid shit. Mm-hmm. And also you have to like look at my mouth, which is, I'm so sorry. My lips are chapped today. This is not a great view for you, but thanks. So yeah, good job, Guillermo. I mean, you know, if Get Out doesn't win, then I hope The Shape of Water wins.
Yeah, that's just the alternative. Yeah, one or the other would be great, at least for screenplay.
I mean, God, give him a director award, damn it.
Yeah,
I'm talking about Jordan Peele.
Yeah, screenplay at least. Here's my thing with that. Horror, again, is just one of those platforms where you don't expect a story or message to come out of it. It's just nothing but gore and violence, and it turns our kids into evil little monsters, and that's not the case in some movies. And I think, at least for screenplay, that man is given an award for the amazing writing that he implemented into the most misunderstood genre of Hollywood. Mm-hmm. That's what I want praise for. If he wins in other stuff, yes, but if he takes home that screenplay, that says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a whole lot. I don't know if Hannibal won anything ever, but I want to say it got nominated at least. And I heard that show has some amazing storytelling and such a thriller / like monstrous type of setting. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they were able to accomplish that, I think, is great. So at least for screenplay, that's what my fingers are crossed for. But there were some strong movies this year.
Yes. I can't really think of any other bitch realies, and I feel like we just went in hard on Homegirl from Alien Covenant.
No, just set the tone. We gotta do it the right way. So
okay, fine. So, setting the tone. If y'all saw Alien Covenant, I don't remember this heifer's name.
We gonna look her up for the sake of bitch really. She deserves to be called out.
Just could not believe that she did that shit. I just couldn't believe she lost all nerve in the heat of the moment.
Okay, now I gotta find her. Okay, so is it this Callie Hernandez chick?
No, that was Jesse's
that's not her
woman.
Oh, okay. Hold on. We gonna find her.
She was the other blonde woman.
Is it Amy
Probably.
Smitez?
Probably. What was the character's name? Not that I'll remember.
She was, I know, right? She was Ferris.
Ooh, I don't know. But I know she was married to Homeboy who was still on the ship, and he was like, my wife's down there. And it's like, your wife has been totally dead for like 30 minutes, sir.
And then there's...
It might have been Rosenthal. But either way...
Yeah.
So look, when they get to the planet and people start breathing in spores because they are just stepping on shit. Okay, that's a bitch really one. Like, you were just stepping on shit. Again, humans, just careless, just going in and like...
I have no idea what's on this planet. Yeah, let me just step on some stuff. Well, because it's like, yeah, I'm protecting this little bubble, my little suit. Ain't nothing gonna harm me.
But they took... No, because they were out their suits at that point.
Oh, they did, because they
were like, "Oh, the air is good. We're great." You dumbasses. So, yeah, they start breathing the spores, and they're sick. So they take Homeboy back to the little hospital room in the... I don't even know what that thing was called, but back to base, and he's not doing well. And it's like, you can tell visibly something is really wrong with him, and he's contracted something. Oh, there might be a virus, but it's like, she immediately locks the doctor in with it. The only black woman gets locked in, and she's like, let me out. And I just couldn't believe she did that shit. I could not believe she did that.
Yeah. There was so much time. And did she end up telling anybody? It's not like she went
was
to go get
trying
help
to
or
call
anything.
someone, but nobody could hear her radio. So she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm crying.
Well,
And then she ends up blowing up the whole fucking thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Homegirl get into that situation because she helped her? And then she turned around and just left.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how it happened.
Well, because she was like, I need to take him in. So she goes in and she just is watching the whole thing take place. And that's when she decides to lock the door.
Yeah. Bitch, really.
Bitch, really, really, really.
Yeah. You could have saved someone and you let fear get the hang of. I mean, she wasn't following protocol. That woman was scared out of her mind and didn't care.
I mean, you shouldn't be allowed to handle a flamethrower if you're just gonna like blow shit up, okay? If you're just gonna like, such a waste. Like 3 characters in one swoop. Good job. So anyway, thanks guys. We're glad that you listened. We hope you enjoyed this. We'll be back next week. It'll be March. I don't know what I want for my birthday yet, but I'll keep you posted.
Okay. Yes, the fool's birthday is approaching.
Yeah, I am almost the St. Patty's Day baby, but not quite. My mom said I was supposed to be born that day, but it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. I guess I got a little excited. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to March. I don't know if there's anything scary coming out, but we'll talk about it.
Well, so Annihilation is out now.
Yes, it's out now.
And there's some stuff. Well, not till April actually.
Oh.
Thoroughbred, if you count that, it's sort of like a thriller / thing that could be fun. I know there's some other stuff, but
we'll find it next week.
Yeah, we'll announce some
let
of our
you know
March horror movies. Of course, I'm gonna lay it all out. You know me.
Mm-hmm. So I guess just tune in next time for Bitch I Ain't Scared.